plaster is very old.
Yeah, I can tell.
We limped a little bit into Lucknow because of lingering sickness from Varanasi. I saw the outside of this house and snapped a picture because it looked so antiquated and interesting, and a random man just pulled us right in for an impromptu tour. This wasn't even his house. He was the electronics repair guy from across the street, but no one inside seemed to mind.
Was this an apartment block before, or like one family, 200 people, or like what is it before? Like
Before 100 years.
Wow.
At this time,
So
three
cool.
family lives here.
3 families now.
Yes.
Wow.
What here?
Very nice.
Yeah.
I love seeing the
So cool.
age of all the bricks.
Yes.
Beautiful. They don't make them like this anymore.
Yes. Come with me.
Wow. Awesome.
Thank you for
All over
showing
are
us.
damages. There is damage. अरे देखते हैं. She is very old. 96 year. 96 year. Yeah.
No, she's not. Doesn't look a day over 70. Actually 96? No. She's laughing. She's not 96. 80, yeah.
It's not a day over 80.
I'm 105.
You know Sebastian Bose?
Sebastian Ghost?
Sebastian Bose.
No, I don't.
Freedom fighter. Freedom fighter.
Oh, yes, yes.
India's freedom fighter.
Yes. Wow.
In 1968, he came here.
Wow. Very nice.
And right after that, it started pouring and hailing. In a way, it was nice to have an excuse to foil our plans for the day because we were still feeling the effects of some sort of horrible flu cold type sickness, so we retreated back inside.
Well, it's been 2 solid days of rain and sickness. Sickness that we acquired from the last stop. And spent the last 2 days of that rain using it as an excuse to finish up some editing and doing very, very light trips out. Natalia got the worst of it this time, but I wasn't doing that great either. And we are now walking through little back alleys of Lucknow as we head to some proper sightseeing. Lucknow has a lot of very interesting buildings and gates and architectural features. It's a little bit chaotic. So this once was a mainstay of many Bengali people, but according to locals, they have since shifted. So lots of references to Bengali food and culture here. And also it was the site of Persian influence and Muslim influence before the British came and ruined things. It's a historical center for the rebellion and has many amazing monuments. So let's go see some.
To get to the most anticipated spot of our visit today, we needed to take a hyperspeed walk through the typically narrow streets of a market area, resist the urge to buy all of the textiles, bangles, and foods, and gradually watch as the market turned to a complex of courts and judicial buildings filled with formally dressed lawyers. And then we were there.
We're here at the Residency. In the background, you can see a series of besieged buildings. The Residency was the home of the resident. Under colonial rule, the British had basically a person living here called the resident who would basically advocate, let's call it, for British rule to be enforced. So Britain would allow the existing ruler to rule but under the control of the resident. So this area was actually historically under the rule and realm of descendants of Persian Muslims, and this was set up as a way to control them. This was also the site of the first rebellion. The British call that the mutiny, but what it was the first fight for independence. This was besieged, recaptured, and besieged again. Let's go take a look through. The rulers before British authoritarianism in this area were called Nawabs. The Nawabs did help construct this place for the resident. If you look, you can see tons of places where cannonballs and other artillery hit these once magnificent bricks covered in plaster. And then we've got a British cemetery. No word exactly from the British on how many of the people in the uprising for independence died, because they buried just their own here. But some people say it was around 3,000 on each side in a little less than 1 year before the place was recaptured. This compound held the resident, the post office, the attack gate, some military armaments and other assets, and was mainly a large property for what was the sort of tacit ruler of this area, the resident. Let's go check out a cemetery. This church was built in Gothic style in 1810, now standing only to a height of 2 to 3 feet. It is surrounded by a cemetery first used during the siege in 1857. The enormous number of casualties forced the dead to be dumped into the ground near the church with no burial service other than a brief prayer. It also served as a granary during the siege. In this strange setting, history sleeps on. Apart from Sir Henry Lawrence, Francis Allen Hale and his wife, Lieutenant James Fullerton, Miss Susanna Palmer, Thomas John Clancy, and countless others slumber on this patch of land. Sapper Henry Grant, 4th Company Royal Engineer, died the 20th of April, aged 23 years. Wow. The rebels really ruined a lot of this. Right.
Let's get it down below. Down below. You think with the portrait he would have had enough time to fix that.
So if you can imagine everything you see that's just little 2 or 3 foot high bricks in the ground as being elaborate, tall buildings covered in plaster, once a whole set of majestic buildings. This was just how intensely Indian rebels destroyed the shit out of this place. Everything almost has been reduced to rubble. And we were just in the museum that we weren't allowed to take video at, that showed several rooms where the stately people who lived in those rooms died by cannon, by bullet, and so on. Quite an uprising indeed. These were once barracks. Rubble. Yeah, that's cannabis. Yeah, it's definitely oh yeah, you can really smell it. Well, if anyone's looking for a stash, everything green that you're seeing is a carpet of marijuana. All of that is also cannabis. Oh, there's peafowl back there. Looks like 2 pea hens in the distance. Oh, there's a bunch just over here. Male and 4 pea hens. Wow. Beige jeggings with all that teal. Looks like someone didn't complete the planning of their outfit. A recap. This is the Residency of Lucknow. Nawab Ali Khan and some of the family members worked in tandem with the resident, who is essentially like the tacit ruler of this area. The resident made sure that the local leaders or the regional leaders did what Britain wanted, and when India rebelled, they attacked this symbol of colonialism and did lose the first time. This was in 1857. It was recaptured in 1858, and they absolutely razed it and destroyed it nearly to the ding-dang ground. So we were seeing today the ruins that were associated with this residency's residence from 1857 to 1858.
We did some more walking through beautiful sites like mosques and gates on our way to our next stop. Our stay was so conveniently located within all of the main sites.
Very India, isn't it? This has a Jaipur vibe to it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
North of my nose, we have the gate that is under construction. South of my nose, west of my, that way, we have India's largest and tallest clock tower. When Natalia asked me, why do you want to go to the clock tower? I said, I don't know, I think it's just time. I think it's just time. Let's zoom, 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 zoom in on that clock tower. Gong that bell. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry, wrong channel. Obscured just behind me in these trees is the clock tower. Busy spot outside of here. Lots of stuff to buy, lots of stuff to see, and lots of folks asking their children to beg and lots of children grabbing at the things that you have in your hands. So be careful about that. Another busy spot with lots of food options. Things to purchase. Cute little tea sets. Wow. Lots of cute little tea sets. And there she be, the magnificent clock tower. Hey Natalia, would you say that you're having the time of your life?
Yes.
Nee. Nee.
The clock tower surrounding area had a stepwell and some other cool things to see too.
This is the Satkhanda Tower. That means literally 7-story tower. But you can see it's only got 4. And why is that? That's because it was built as a lunar observation center in 1837 by Muhammad Ali Shah. But unfortunately, during the commission of this and the start of it being built, he died. So it was left unfinished in this state. But it has a beautiful courtyard and lots to see. That's called the Satkhanda Tower, the 7-story tower.
Now, as far as Lucknow sightseeing goes, we started gently here today. The best is yet to come, folks. Be sure to join us for the next episodes, where we'll see a dizzying labyrinth inside of one of the most beautiful structures we have seen on the entire trip, as well as massive marble park and arches filled with elephants? It's ethical to view them and even touch them, so don't worry. We are also going to eat famous foods and see so much more. But for now, we will inch our way through Lucknow evening traffic on the way back to our stay. Whoa, what a long day. For Vegan Everywhere, I'm David.